How you guys doing? I'm Bronson Becerra.
And I'm Christian White.
Welcome to Bronson and Christian Talk. What's going on, man? How's the week been going?
Been good.
Yeah.
I've been learning a lot about our economy that we're in, educating myself more on it, and unfortunately, it's really not talked about very much. I know I've kind of give a little bit insights on it in earlier episodes, but just when people really realize how deep shit we're in, so to speak, the country and such. It's very alarming. And then all the stuff going on overseas. So anyways, I've been focused on that, waiting on some stuff with our landscape company, and just being very productive. Yeah. Oh, and I started painting a little bit.
I seen you post your painting. FY Christian has a painting up. Guys, go check it out. How can they view it on your Instagram, Facebook?
I need to get that up and running.
This guy is an amazing painter. Like, it's like Dr. Office in art galleries painting. Like, he's very, very, and that's coming from someone who's an artist himself. I don't really paint, I draw, but he's really, I even told him he needs to go sell his painting. Like, it was really, really amazing. So you guys go check it out. It's definitely worth the price, all the time he's putting into that. So
thanks,
pretty cool.
Appreciate it. Yeah.
But yeah, I've just been busy with work, kids, of course. And then, like you said, Vantage Point, just patience is key. We're just in the works of, the licensing and everything like that. But, I've always told Christian, like, everything happens for a reason. I'm really big on that. And I think it's for good reasons,
Speaking of everything happens for a reason, I'm reading, you're familiar with Wayne Dyer by chance? Does that name ring a bell?
I'm horrible at names.
Okay.
Man.
So basically, white guy, bald head. He was in his probably 50s, 60s, 70s at the time. He was on PBS, but he was really big into like meditation and like Taoism and all that, kind of like your book that you have there.
Yep.
And I picked up his book and I've been reading each of the verses. There's 81 verses in the Tao Te Ching. And one of them I read the other day. I actually decided to share on social media on my story, and to my surprise, people
was the one you sent me?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah,
and
was pretty cool.
It ties in with what you just said on God's time.
Right.
So whether people subscribe to God or the universe, there is an element that I do believe that. And hey, I'm all about being a go-getter and being aggressive with pursuing what you want to do. But I do believe there's also an element of letting things take their natural course.
Right.
You can force things up into a point of diminishing returns.
Right. And that comes with, you got to push yourself. You can't give up. You got to work hard. But sometimes if you push too hard,
it creates problems.
Yeah. And, it's just best. It's not, patience is key, right? And there's that saying that's at the tip of my tongue, pretty much like when you talk about how, I just lost my train of thought with what I was going to say with that. But like people that are, you don't want to wait around for something, right? Things that when people like wait around, it's pursued by those that are really working for it. I don't know that saying, and so obviously I forgot. But at the same time, you got to have an element of both. You got to have some patience, but you got to get a go-getter at the same time. But you have to know when to like pull back a little bit. Like, okay, don't force the issue, and that can be into relationships too, work, whatever, and that's something that we'll definitely dive in a bit. Relationships, but I think that's so important, man, to be patient with certain things. Like, you don't push it, because usually, like, if you've done it 3 or 4 times and it's not working, okay, take a step back, see what assess the situation, and then move forward. Don't just keep going and just going crazy. You just gotta step back, man. And I'm huge on patience is key with certain things. You have to push yourself in certain areas, but at the same time, it's like, nah, if it's just not working, it's just not working. You just got to accept it, move forward, and find another way to go around it, or, different direction.
Speaking of, working, so on and so forth, what I'm finding to be critical for myself, and I imagine that is the case for millions of others, is when we're often working and going about the day, we become so mired in the day-to-day. Right. We don't allocate time to actually kind of like reflect. Like genuine downtime. I don't mean just like watching TV or something. Right. I mean like full on just don't do a damn thing and just like meditate,
Blackness.
like just not quite blackness, but that'd be a bad thing if you're
No,
if
no,
you're
I
experiencing
get,
blackness, but
I completely agree because at night, like something I've started doing over again. Past
Yeah.
couple years, I wasn't really heavy. I kind of like veered from it, but I take an hour to myself in the sense of I foam roll for 10 minutes, I stretch for 10 minutes, I just do like some push-ups real quick, stuff like that, and then I read for the rest. So I do that, and then I drink my tea. It's like some bedtime tea. I don't know, has some stuff in it, but like I do that so like an hour before bed, just so I can just focus on that. No Instagram, no Facebook,
Yep.
no phone stuff, and then the whole time I have like relaxing music every night before I go to bed. I always listen to relaxing music. Nothing with any high tempo beats. Nothing with no singing. Just relaxing stuff. Not ocean stuff. Just very like almost like that vibration. Like just that I don't know.
you're talking about frequency music.
Frequency. There you go. So like I just
Hertz music.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Like I
Supposed
just
to be good for you.
it's so relaxing, man. It really does clear the mind a lot. You don't really think about much. At least I don't. Because I'm always I'm an overthinker. I'm very overanalytical. I'm always dissecting things. I'm always constantly thinking about what's the next move I got to make for business or for my kids or you know what I mean. So that I take that little time for myself at night, and I've been sleeping a lot better because I have horrible sleep. I sleep maybe 4.5 hours at night, which is absolutely horrible. And I know you're huge on sleep. You know?
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't sleep very. I mean, I woke up at. I try and wake up at 5:30.
I do every day
in the morning, and I was actually wiped out. And I used to share the sentiment of kind of like a Jocko Willink or something. I used to be in the military, right? Like this disciplined mindset and getting exposed to it. But at some point you have to ask yourself, what's the utility in if you're getting up early and you're doing that, and that's wonderful, that's great, and I strive to do that. But if you're tired and you can't, you're some of us are, I'm not like in some presidential role by any means, but some of us, our decisions have significant consequences at work or whatever we're doing. And so if your cognitive ability has diminished simply because you're getting up early enough, I mean, you sometimes have to question yourself, like, is this actually doing more harm than good?
Right.
So.
Yeah. I mean, but see, I go to bed like at 12 or 1, and then I wake up at 5:30 or 5:15. You go to bed at what, like 10:30?
I try and get to bed between a 9:30 and 10 window.
Man, that's when my night starts.
Yep. Well,
So again, I'm a dad, so it's a little different. My kids, especially now it's summer, they go to bed around like 9. Drake will go to bed sometimes 10. And I want to enjoy my time when they go to sleep. And then obviously I have work at 7, so I like to take my time, and I wake up 5:15. I might snooze it to 5:30 and then take a shower, have my eggs with my fruit in the morning, and just like be at a cool pace. The job sites are always 30 minutes away anyway, so then I got to drive all the way over there. So, but it's good to get sleep. I just don't get enough of it. Like I'm completely knowing of I don't get enough sleep. And if I got an extra hour, that'd make a huge difference. I think a good 6 hours for me would be perfect.
everyone's different.
Yeah, I like it, 8 or 9 hours. Like I don't understand that, to be honest with you. Like I just couldn't sleep for 9 hours or 8 hours.
I think a lot of it it's the quality of it.
Right.
It's
like if
really-
I get a good quality of 6 hours is better than 8 hours tossing and turning.
Exactly.
But unfortunately 5 hours I toss and turn. So I don't know, man. So hopefully what I've been doing will start working, especially with what I do, what you will be doing, you know what I mean? Being out there, I know I've told this to you, obviously, and Brad, like obviously I'm not, my goal, and I was just talking to my friend earlier about this, like my goal is not to be out here no more. I mean, it's 111 and we're over here digging trees out and doing, it's just taxing on the body. And I think I love working hard, but when you're doing it at 111, 110, it just doesn't make sense anymore for me. And I'm not knocking anybody that does it because I do it, but like, it's just, there's a point in time where you got to use your head instead of your muscles, you know what I mean? And so that's where we're at. And that's why I'm excited for Vantage Point to start it, because I won't have to do it as much, where you're going to kind of start tasting it a little bit. You're not going to do it all the time, obviously, but it's good to get out there, get your feet wet. Like you did, what was that, 2 weeks ago?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're out there, 4 hours?
At least.
Yeah, it was a hot day that day.
Yeah.
It was a lot, and had this guy out here digging out trees, and we got the wood chipper out there, and yeah, it was a lot. It was a lot that day. So
Yeah, it was. I'm lucky I had my sombrero like hat.
yeah, and on my Instagram I put that. Dun, 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 dun.
Yeah,
You got that music on for him and
Yep.
everything, and he did a great job.
Yeah.
You know, he was doing something, whatever it was, looked right. I don't know.
Yeah, you have a lot of respect for people doing manual labor. People who are out there. I
Absolutely.
mean, that is, yeah. But I tell you what, I felt amazing when I went home.
Felt very accomplished.
Oh no,
Or just physically
like
you
just
felt
it was euphoric. It was like I went on a run.
Yeah, it's taxing, dude. Now
But
just be out
you
there for another 4 hours.
I know.
I had an 11-hour day.
But I felt so relaxed. I felt like, wow, you feel amazing because you're getting your vitamin C, you're getting exposure. I don't think a lot of people get enough.
Vitamin D.
Vitamin D, excuse me. Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you
No.
call it?
Yeah,
Yeah, they don't get enough exposure, and when you're doing physical activity, it just helps with all the endorphins and all that. But anyhow,
So let's get down to business. How was the dating life?
oh, it's incredible, man. I mean, I'm.
He's like, I'm married to my word.
No, I'm
You're
just
just busy
I'm just taking a break from that. And how about you?
I don't know. I don't really date. It's been a while since I've been on like a date. To me, a date is like dinner. You're crossing each other. You're having drinks. You're doing multiple things that evening. You're just spending quality time with each other, holding the hand. That's dating. Like that's going on dates for me. Like you're gonna sit next to me. We're gonna have a drink and bullshit. Like you get to know that person, get to spend some quality time, but it's not too personal. Like you know what I mean? Like that's just me. Everybody's view is gonna be a little different, but yeah, no, I mean, look, I hang out with friends. I just enjoy my life right now. But as you know, because obviously he's my business partner, and this is just to scratch of the surface how busy we're gonna be. I don't really have time. I mean, especially me being a dad and stuff. Like, I don't have all this time to like put all this energy. And everybody who's watching, you gotta understand, you're putting energy into your children, into your job or a business, and then into yourself, and then there's going to be someone else. You're going to put your energy and time. Of course, there can be that debate, well, if someone comes to your life, they should compliment you, and it should be a little bit, make it easier for you, which is true, but no matter at the end of the day, you're still going to worry about them and love them, care about them, and energy is being used with that.
Exactly.
Right? So, but I'm just saying, like, now, if it comes along, and again, I'm all about everything happens for a reason. If it comes along, if it makes sense in the process, cool. I don't need help with anything except when I come home, I want peace of mind because you cannot buy that. And that's what I want from someone. That's like the biggest turn on is if they just bring me peace of mind where I don't have to argue and bitch and complain who, what, where, why, and when. Shut up. Like, I don't want to deal with that shit.
Shut up.
Yeah,
Leave me
just
alone.
like, shut up. Bam. No, I'm just kidding. But no, like, in like, joking aside, like, I just don't want to deal with that. I just don't feel like, I don't know. The right person will compliment you, man.
Yeah.
You'll know. You'll just feel it. It's just a feeling. Like, it's just a good vibe, and you're always happy to be around them. You always want to spend time with them, and you always want to do shit with them. It's just a feeling, like, not even like a sexual feeling. Like, that's an automatic. If you're vibing with someone, that's an automatic, right? But like, it's just like, I want to be around them. If you don't hear from them that often, that's not where you should be heading to. There should be an equal balance of like, they text you, you call them. There should be a back and forth, right? In my opinion. But to answer your question, no, I'm not really dating. I've hung out with people here and there over the span of months, but not like, there's nothing that I'm like, oh man, I really want to be with this person. No, not at all. Like, someone serious, like, that I was really into was over a year ago. So, like, other than that,
Well, again, it's, I'm certainly not the first to bring it up. I mean, it's all over, if you go online or look up content. I mean, again, we've mentioned it on previous episodes. It's a funky time right now, in the dating world. Right. And a lot of people who are, I think I saw a study, 45% of adults are single. Okay. And I think it's multifaceted. Like I said, social media. I think it's economic. I think it's kind of the times that we're in. I think there's a lack of polarity in relationships, and people oftentimes don't recognize that or want to accept that,
Right.
and they scratch their head and wonder, well, why is this not? There's got to be a yin and yang.
Right.
It's just an interesting time because, again, I always joke and say, if this was 1950, it'd be a different story. And for me, the other thing is, it's, we're men, we're visual creatures. And and both men and women, we're both emotional creatures, right?
Right.
And so I feel like, I mean, at least for me, setting expectations and not wanting to get emotionally invested, because it's very easy, right? Especially if you're kind of seeing someone, very easy to where the other person can catch feelings or something, and it's, it can go down a rabbit hole. And I think I value people's time, and I don't know the
Are
hard
you the
way.
person that be hurting people's feelings, bro? Are you the one that people like, oh man, Christian, I love spending time with you. Let's hang out.
Yeah.
You're like, nah.
Check my schedule.
I'm too busy with economics right now.
Yeah. Oh boy. Yeah.
Let me ask you a question. I don't think I've even asked you. What do you look for in a woman, bro? Like, what's your type? Like,
Yeah.
even down to like physically, ethnicity.
Sure.
Like, what's your like? Yeah.
What's mine?
And of course, morally, because I know you're like,
Sure.
I won't say what I already know, but you tell. I want you to break it down.
Yeah. I mean, for me, I'm looking for someone with traditional values.
Right.
What are traditional values?
I was going to say, explain what your view of traditional values are.
For me,
Like sit down at dinner, believe in God.
so someone with Judeo-Christian values.
Right.
Recognizing, kind of the intersex dynamics between a man and a woman, in a sense. The roles that we play in a tradition. I mean, that's just me. Now, that may not be for some members of the audience, and I totally respect that. But for me, I'm looking for someone who's traditional, someone faith-based. I'm not going to pretend to be a saint or to be able to recite, religious doctrine on a dime. But that's what I've come to really value.
I mean, you kind of look like the white Jesus.
Thank you. Yeah, I don't have the long hair.
Not yet.
Yeah,
just going out the beard. Look at that.
Yeah. First time,
and his name's Christian.
and it's white. Yeah,
and he's white.
Nothing whiter than that, right? So. Anyhow, yeah, it's just, just a traditional lady.
Now, what about ethnicity? Like, what? I mean, or is it doesn't matter as long as they believe in God, they're traditional and they want to get married, have kids, like the.
Sure, like more of the nuances.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely want to have a family.
Right.
I'm not like married to one.
You're like into white chicks, black chicks, Asian chicks. I want to know what you're into ethnicity wise.
Gosh, you're putting me on the spot.
It's the podcast, bro. I want to know what you like.
Of course you do. Yeah. Look, I don't care if someone comes in a certain shade or color or whatever, and I have that interest. I'm not opposed.
Awesome.
So if that answer your question. And it was kind of...
That did. So they could be purple, yellow. They can be Simpson, whatever.
Could be
green, money. No, I was just curious, man.
How about you?
I mean, I would be lying if I said I wasn't a huge Latina fan. But look, ultimately, it doesn't matter. Like if I just find you physically, and this is the huge debate.
Yeah.
I have to physically be attracted to you.
It's not a choice.
Yeah, I'm like, it's like, well, I'm going to see a busted car and be like, I bet you that's a really good car. Right? If I see a really nice car.
Yeah.
Sorry.
It's getting a little excited here.
I was just thinking about Transformers. I don't know. But anyways.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh my gosh. Anyways. So my point of using the car thing is like, if you see a car, dude, you want to, obviously a nice car, right? but you don't know if it runs right. So what do you have to do? You have to test drive it. You have to get to see how the car works. Same thing in a relationship, getting to know someone. Like, you have to see who they are as a person. But in order to want to see who they are and go in depth with about their family, if they have any children, you got to get to know them. Well, how do you get to know them? Well, I got to be attracted to want to get to know them. And people always told me I was shallow. That's not being shallow. That's my preference. They're like, well, what about bigger girls? Like, I'm like, I think it doesn't matter if you're a big girl. Like, I think every shape and size is awesome. But for me, long term, to be in a relationship and someone that I'm physically attracted to, I want someone to at least look the part. That's not being shallow. That's what I want. That's what I need. I take care of myself physically. It shows a lot of, in my opinion, when I see someone physically fit or at least looks the part, eat healthy and stuff like that, that says a lot because it is not easy to do. And if you're doing that, it shows the discipline that you have. And no offense to people that are overweight and, you know, that's just, there's some really disciplined people in their craft of business, but it goes back to what I said before. You're no good to anybody else. You're no good to yourself. Like, how can you be good at something if you don't take care of yourself? Like, I'm just not understanding.
I think that's one of the challenges with our day and age is, and hey, look, I'll preface with, everyone's entitled to do what they want to do ultimately. Mm-hmm. And I don't care, nor do I think anyone else cares how someone wishes to live their life. It's not my, it's not my right or anyone's right to dictate such. But I do think society, you know, it's like a pendulum. It's gone so far on one side of the spectrum where, you know, it's one thing to be accept differences and things. It's another to be like, let's embrace, you know, a lack of taking care of ourselves, you know, our physical health, as reflected when you go to a retail store or such and such. And, you know, my thoughts are, you know, we should strive to take care of ourselves both mentally and physically. Right. And, you know, you catch my drift, so to speak. You know?
Yeah, and like, look, I'm having a drink. It doesn't mean you can't enjoy it. Yeah. But at the same time, I work hard so I can do stuff like that. I work hard so if I want ice cream or if I want, and my dad's a good example. He's like, boy, look at you eating ice cream. I'm like, yeah, because I take care of myself. So I'm allowed to have like cheat meals and, you know, maybe it's a cheat day. Fuck, I'll have a cheat week. Like I do enough to make sure I look decent. Yeah. Because it makes me happy. So I don't care about anybody else. You know what I mean? So, but also, you know, like you attract, you know, what you look like is huge. Oh yeah. You know that. Even like in business, if you want a significant other, and I want to be a great example to my sons, like there's a trifecta of things that I want to make sure I hit. Be happy with myself, make sure I take care of myself, make sure my sons see like, yo, my dad's in shape. Like I want them to be excited when they see me like, man, Dad, you're strong. Like, you know, it makes me happy knowing that they look up to me like that. And then for a woman, I don't want her to be like, dude, he's fat. Or, oh my God, he's out of shape. You know, and, you know, you attract more people.
100%. You know, I grew up around my dad going on runs all the time. He'd run around the neighborhood, always in shape. Even now, he's 61 years old. He literally has a six-pack.
That's wild.
He's 61 years old.
My dad has one too. It's just under a lot of stuff.
We all have a six-pack, actually. Yeah. And what I'm getting is being around someone who, you know, who places a premium on that. It really impacts you as an individual. Right. And so, and again, you know, we're all a product of our environment.
Yeah, and that's why, like, like speaking of my dad, he used to be in shape back in the day. I remember going to Pep Boys, and he would have oil boxes stacked up. He was doing push-ups in the back room. So I remember my dad being in shape. He used to have the grips. He'd always grip. A lot of people don't do that nowadays.
Oh, I have them. That's like what rock climbers use.
Yeah, I do them all the time. I have them in my car.
For the purposes of what? Just
strength. So if I grab you, I'm gonna take your soul. So like it's but joking aside, but it's good for jiu-jitsu for one. It's good for just, you know, you just have strong grip. I mean, what girl wants to do with some lame ass hands? Like when you grab someone or you grab something, like you want man hands, like you want weenie hands. So like it's just something. But I grew up with my dad, and he always did that. He'd do sets. He'd be like, all right, I'm gonna do a set of 100. Dude, do like 1,000 in the car where we're driving. It's just crazy. And but back to my thing is, I want my sons, like for instance, I put on FaceTime, or I FaceTime my sons, and Drake was flexing, and you know, he wanted to share with me like, yo, Dad, how's my back looking? And it made me really happy that, you know, he wants to share that stuff with me and to know that he's doing it on his own. Trust me, I still tell my sons, hey, did you work out? Like, I'll remind them. But then when they FaceTime me, like, hey, Dad, look, am I doing this right? And about 25 minutes, we talked about his hammer curls he needed to do, how his bench pressing, how we can get up his, underneath his pecs to get the decline, to get more of a cup, you know, get a little bit more fuller, do more flat bench. And so we're just talking about various things to help him. And it's your kids are a representation of you. They're a reflection of you, their habits, the way they talk, the way they move. And I tell my sons, if you do dumb shit when I'm not around, it's a representation of your dad. And, it's called a little bit of pressure maybe. People are like, oh, don't put that on them. Fuck yeah, I am. Because you know what? Don't act stupid. Because you're not taught to be stupid. You're not taught to do the wrong thing and hurt people or steal or do drugs and do all this bad crap. Like, you're meant to be respectful, kind, loving, and understanding, and protect yourself if you need to. And, be the light in the dark, because this world is so messed up. You know what I mean? So that's what I teach my sons. Now, do I cuss in front of my sons? Am I perfect? I'm not perfect. I cuss in front of my kids. I'm not this,
saintly.
Nah, man. I'm human. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, I do believe in balance. This is my theory. It's working. If you guys have kids, do whatever the hell you want with your kids. I don't mind if my kids listen to music that has some cuss words in it and stuff like that. That's the reality. We live in this world. We don't have to be of the world, right? We live in the world, but I'm not gonna pretend like my sons. I'd rather my kids listen to something that, like, look, if they're with me, couple cuss words, it is what it is. Like, you're becoming a young man, you're fine, okay? I'm not raising young women, it's different. When they're out there, this is the real world. When they go out there, it's in the real world. Like, no one's gonna patty cake your ass, man. Like, this is like, gotta become a young man. Shit happens, and you gotta be tough, and you gotta be smart, and but kind of like, not to veer off too much, but yeah, it makes me excited when I see my sons are into fitness and stuff. And but it goes back to what we were talking about earlier, with relationships. Like, you want to look the part, dude. Even in the animal kingdom, they ruffle their feathers, or they get themselves bigger to grab them. Yeah, like, get a mate. You know what I mean? It's like, come on, dude. Yep. Like, you want to look great. Like, who doesn't? You look good, you feel good. That is so true. And if you look like shit, you start getting to your head a little bit, right? So at the end of the day, I'm off my game right now. I know I can feel like I can look a little better, but it's all good. I just got to get back on the horse, and I've just been busy grinding, and like I said, I was a personal trainer for years, and I always tell people, oh, there's no excuses, and now I'm kind of like, oh shit. Now I'm like one of those people making excuses, because I am tired. I don't want to do it, but at least I'm honest. I just don't feel like it. Could I? Probably, but I'm just so damn tired, I just don't want to. But you got to find that will, and that's why I started doing foam rolling and stretching again, and reading at night, and drinking my tea, and just kind of like Zen type shit for an hour. And then that's my part of my health, right? So just getting back on the grind. But yeah, when it comes to relationships, not dating anybody, I'm open to it. If it happens, great. If it doesn't, it's all good, because we're busy trying to make this business grow and make things happen. And I'm just going with the flow, bro. I have no...
Same here.
No like, oh, all right, it's, I got another year, and then, I don't care. I'm not promised tomorrow, so I'm not going to pretend like I need something today. I'd rather just, as cliche as it sounds, I'd rather just enjoy today and just go with the flow. I do like to plan accordingly with my day and stuff, but I'm just kind of going with it. Who knows? You might meet someone just randomly, or someone you've known for years, and it just happens. It just all depends. You never know. So I'm just going with the flow, man, when it comes to like getting to know people or like dating.
Yeah, I see a lot of people, as do you, right? People get married, they have kids, and obviously more and more of that will continue to materialize as time goes on within your social circle, if you will. Mm-hmm. But yeah, again, it's an interesting time. 2024 is not 1954.
Yeah, and like, I feel like at least more than half the time, or a lot more than half the time, if you're gonna meet someone, it's usually through like social media. Am I right or am I wrong? Majority of the time.
I agree with you in that. I mean, like I've been meeting a lot of people through
Yeah.
through the
I feel like
platform.
it's easier. It's a good and bad thing. Like, I'd rather meet someone I'm out having a conversation with them and it just happens organically. But at the same time, it's okay if you meet someone through social media and like, hey, do you want to go have a drink or
Yeah.
go work out or whatever your forte is.
Yeah.
But I'm open to either. But I do like when it happens organically when you're not trying to meet them. It's just coincidence. Like, who knows? I might meet someone in the Chipotle line.
That's right. You need to have some stock. I would expect you
Man,
to have some
I went today.
preferred stock.
I love that place and it loves me. And I don't know. I definitely need to get some type of stock in that thing. Man.
Okay, so my question is, how often are they giving you free burritos
Nothing's
or
ever
bowls?
free.
They don't ever hook you up?
There's a dude that he's hella cool and he actually goes to the barbershop that I go to.
No way.
Yeah.
You've seen him?
Yeah, I've seen him, and he happens to work there. And long story short, like if it's like 20 something, he'll give it to me for 16, or they hook me up.
That's good.
Like a couple years ago, some lady used to give him to me, like get a free bowl. I'm like, oh yeah, she's cool. You know what I mean? Like I'm in there like 4 or 5 days a week.
Wow.
So say it's usually like 20 something bucks. Say I'm 20,
Yeah.
20, 40, 60, 80 to 100 bucks a week.
Yeah. So I heard about them getting a lot of slack with the portion sizes.
Yeah,
I've heard.
Yeah, and then people are like, oh, we videotape them. How about you do this? You got a mouth. Most of you do if you go. Just say, if they pour you rice, oh, can I get extra rice? They put more rice. Maybe it's not as extra as you want it. Can you please put some more? No, a little bit more. One more scoop. That's what I do. And then they shut the fuck up and just do it. That's their job. One time a guy, he goes, I think I told you the story. I'm like, oh, I was with my sons and Drake could not stop laughing. I said, can I get double steak? Okay, where do you want the steak at? Your fucking head. Can you put it in my bowl? You know what I mean? Like, where else are you going to put the steak at? Right? So, like, that's who you're working with.
He was trying to like isolate, like make sure it doesn't touch like the beans or rice or veggies.
I don't understand. Like, there's just rice in the bowl. And he's like, well, where do you want me to put the steak at? I'm like, oh, put it on the ground, bro. What do you think? Put it on the rice, So, but yeah, but for the most part, everybody who works there is hella cool. I mean, they see me all the time. You would think I'd get some free shit. Like, they're like, you should download the apps and then get like free guac. I don't care about the guac, and I want a free bowl. Like, if I can get a free bowl, then I'll do it. You know what I mean? But yeah, I've been slowing down on it a little bit. I don't get it as much anymore. I'm not gonna lie. Maybe go twice a week.
Has it gone up?
Prices? Dude, I remember when I used to get double stuff, $12-13. If I get double with guac, chips and everything, it's probably like $25-26.
Oh my gosh.
Like, I'm just like,
Oh my.
go to like Ruth Chris with a friend and
Happy hour.
just have happy hour.
Wow.
You know what I mean? So yeah, it's pretty crazy how expensive it's getting, and I love Chipotle, but it's not worth it.
Gotta love the inflation.
Yeah,
That's a silent tax on all of us.
yeah. So it's wild, man. But yeah, but yeah, back to the whole like relationship thing. Whatever happens will happen. I'm not holding my breath. I'm just gonna go with the flow. If they need to compliment me in the best of ways, I don't need them to be financially set and have all this money, but I'm not going to be out here taking care of these young people like, oh, do this for me, pay this for me. Nah, how about you shut your ass up and do it yourself? Like, I'll do it because I feel it, because I love that person. I want to help them, not because they're telling me I need to do it. That's like the wrong approach. You don't do that, especially like me. I'm an entrepreneur. I work really hard physically too. So like, I'm not going to just let someone into my life and let them reap the rewards of my hard work just because, oh, they're decent looking. You better be coming like with the whole package of shit.
So let me ask you this: if hypothetically you meet Miss Wonderful, and she, would you get legally married?
Legally married?
Like you can go through the ceremony, like a wedding, like a marriage ceremony,
Right.
But would you actually get legally married?
I think I would. I think people are scared to do it because what if she takes your stuff? Then you're going into getting married for the wrong reasons, man. You're so preoccupied about worrying about what she's going to take. when you're not just focused on what she can bring, like, you know what I mean, and have a good heart and have a good, and just everything that she can bring to the table of quality of a person. If you're worrying about like, oh yeah, like she's gonna take my money, then you a piece of shit. I'm just keeping it a buck. Like, I just feel like it comes full circle. She's gonna try to do that to you, man. She's gonna get hers, and I really do believe in karma. What comes around goes around, bro. So I'm not gonna really, now if you're like a billionaire, maybe that's a little different. But you know, I'm not there yet. So, you know, at the end of the day, I don't think about it. I'm gonna be completely honest with you. I'm just more focused on like, if I can find someone, if I'm gonna marry someone, the fact I'm gonna marry someone, that means I love that person. That means my mind is just so tunnel vision on how much I love them, how much I care about them. I don't give a fuck about the money.
So let me ask you this. You posed a question to me as to what I'm looking for. Share with the audience what you are
What I'm
looking for
in a person?
specifically.
That's a good question. Well, pretty much like I said, I don't need their money. I'm like, there's
Wait, you don't?
I mean, if they have a lot of money, no. Joking aside, there's like the 5 love languages, right? That, you know, I don't know if people ever read the book or did all this stuff, but like mine's time spent, like quality time. Like, I just want to be able to spend time with someone, like, and give them my time. I don't need their money. I don't need no gifts. I don't need some, and gifts are cool. But, like, you know, joking aside, I just want to be able to spend time with that person. When I come home, I want to look forward to coming home. You know, it's rare for me to ever feel that way. I felt that once before, where I just want to hurry up and get off work to go home to that person. That's such an amazing feeling, like, to feel that. And so that's what I'm looking for, someone that I just can have a great connection with. It's just going to be a vibe. That's rare for me to get. Like, you just, like, I'm cheesing over that person. I can't wait to see them. You know what I mean? Like, that's what I'm looking for. Now, obviously, whether they look like they take care of themselves or they take care of themselves, you got to look the part for me. I gotta be attracted to you. If you have kids, you gotta be a great mom. Can't be selfish. If you don't have any kids, and you know, that's a little tough. I was with someone that didn't have any kids, but they're a lot younger. But I will give credit where credit's due. They were amazing to my kids. But I feel like it's hard for people who don't have kids to be more understanding of time, because they don't have kids. They don't understand, like, we just can't on drop of a dime. Like, fuck that. I'll drop everything for my kids on a drop of a dime. I ain't gonna drop it for you. Like, they have to be very understanding, and I think that's where that gray area is of, like, it feels good, it seems cool, like, oh yeah, I'm gonna love your kids, and like, but then once they start doing it, like, oh damn, this is a lot. So, you know, if I'm with someone, most likely I probably end up being with someone who has kids, or if, you know, these come from a great family, so they understand family value. You know, again, race doesn't crazy matter. I mean, as long as they're attractive to me, you know what I mean. Mine's gonna look like a goddamn hippo, but yeah, you know, that's kind of like my thing. You know, I don't care small, tall. Like, just take care of yourself, have a good heart, believe in God, and you know, just be hungry for success. I don't want no bum. But I don't care, as long as they have a job. Like, all I care about if they have a job. I don't care if they're making hundreds of thousands of dollars. I mean, that'd be fucking great. But like, I don't care.
What if she wants to be a homemaker?
Well, what if I just want to play video games?
So they have to work. You want them?
Well, who's gonna, like, you got to. Like, look, man, and this is the thing. There's girls that's like, I'm gonna be a good stay-at-home mom. Well, you're gonna stay home by your damn self and have 50 fucking kids with 50 men. Like, you know what I mean? I'm not gonna be babysitting. I got 2 kids. I'm not trying to take care of another kid, meaning that person.
Yeah.
I'm gonna take care of them because I love them. Like, and I'm not gonna make them pay for rent or anything like that. That's what a man does, in my opinion. You know, I'm gonna take care of them in that sense. But like, that's a turnoff. I'll be a good stay-at-home mom. I'm like, yeah, I bet you will. Like, you know what I mean? Like, now, depending on the situation, say they already have a job and then we had a kid. I'm like, hey, babe, maybe you should just stay home with the kids. And like, that's different. You know, like, I'm okay with that. But like, they automatically, if they're like in their early 20s, they're like, oh, I'm just going to stay home. Like, all right, bye. Like, that's not for me. I want someone who's a go-getter. To me, that's just lazy. Your value is titties and ass. And like, maybe opening your mouth, like, sorry, like, I can do that with a pretty woman who's very successful. Like, I don't need that, right? I mean, who wants that? it's good for that moment. Like if you're going to Vegas or something, but it ain't gonna good for long term having family values. That's one thing I agree with you on. Dude, when's the last time, like, who eats at the dinner table anymore?
Yep.
Like, nobody does, right? No one just like, hey, how was your day? No one gives a shit. Like, no one does that anymore. You know what I mean?
I just again, I'll go back to it. I think again, whether people subscribe to God or the universe, people, I think, need a compass. They need something that grounds them, that gives them some sense of direction and such. And I really think that we have lost that as a society. And you look at, and again, people can produce whatever content they want out there, but I'm saying as a whole, it's not wholesome content. And again, I'm not going to preach to sound like I'm, some saint or whatever, but it's, you just look at the consumerism, the culture we're in. I mean, the same thing even with finance. I mean, there's just a lot of stuff. We are a civilization that has seen better days,
Right.
And I'm trying to be optimistic that we'll get back to it. But I think society's kind of like a pendulum. And right now we're on the way far end of the spectrum, whereby
we're not even close when we were kids. Dude, I remember having fish sticks eating at the table with my parents, man. Like, there's no value of nothing. Now it's like this. I'm not gonna lie. I do that. And so it sucks. I feel like communication skills are fucking gone. You talk really good over the internet. You talk good via text, but in person, you're absolute ass. Like, and it's just like, it's sad. There's no communication. No one has any skill set in that.
Well, just think if you spent your formative years during COVID as a child, right? Those instead of being in school where you're interacting and you're developing for those couple years or whatever, you're spent behind a screen, in a class on an online classroom, and you're not, how that impacts your development.
Right. Oh yeah, COVID was
and the work from home.
Yeah, it was a tough time, and that was complete bullshit for no reason. But that's another whole podcast thing.
Well, they call it the scamdemic for a reason.
Yeah, it was a joke, but like I said, that's a whole nother topic for another podcast. But like, to wrap things up, I feel like my sons are, what can change the direction of what's been happening, right? As long as you instill in your kids good morals and values. Like, I always tell my sons when I pray with them and stuff, like, you guys, be the light in the dark. It's a very scary place out there, and a lot of people there's a lot of bad people out there. There's a lot of good people out there, but, it starts at home. You hear that from people that have been in jail and prison, people who have no fathers, mothers, whatever. They always talk about it starts at home. That's why they were bad. They didn't have a father. They didn't have a mother. So it starts at home. It really does. You won't want your kids to get in trouble. Not saying they're not going to at some point. Things happen. People go in their own direction. But if you can establish a good base and good morals, there's a good chance they're going to turn out to be pretty good people. And, that's why hopefully, I feel like I boast a lot about my children. If anybody follows me on social media, my kids are dope, man. Like, and so I'm really happy with the direction that my sons are going. I'm proud to call them my sons, and I wouldn't change for the world, man. I'm really happy. I'm really blessed, and like I said, it starts at home, and hopefully, I always pray about them and with them, and hopefully, like what my mom used to do. I pray that my sons have amazing wives, businesses, jobs. I do the same thing every day for them. Like, can't imagine what they're gonna be married one day, and that goes back to the relationships. Like, got to establish good morals and stuff and good background, so when they get in a relationship, how they are and how you treat people is how they're gonna treat people. That's all they know, right? So you got to make sure you clean it up at home.
Now, you mentioned that stood out to me. I mean, apart from obviously you're a phenomenal father figure.
Thanks, man.
For your kids. I mean that. You mentioned the world being a dark place.
Yeah.
And there are dark elements in the world, of course.
Right.
Do you care to share perhaps an experience or an insight or something you've observed that sheds light on that darkness that you're obviously trying to have them and yourself serve as the light? in that darkness.
So you're saying an experience that I went through that I hope they don't,
or perhaps something you've observed that's dark, that resonates with what you're.
I mean,
what
yeah,
you
there's been
alluded to.
plenty of things, whether it was being in relationships and seeing some really bad things happen, or being younger and doing drugs and being around gangs and being around violence and unfortunately, and I've said this before, it's bad when you don't know the Lord and then you don't know right from wrong and you do something wrong. But it's even worse when you know God and you come from a good family and you still do the bad thing. It crushes me because I still do it sometimes. Like things I know I shouldn't do and I do it. So, but there's been plenty of things. Trying to think what I can share that I don't want to put too much stuff on it. But I mean, I've just been around, I guess, people in my younger years that did a lot of bad things to people. Violence, physically, drugs, just like a lot of violence. And so I worry about my children being around the wrong people and getting involved. I mean, especially now with your phone, man, you're fucked if you say the wrong thing, or you're fucked if like you start fighting, someone videotapes it. Or I couldn't imagine if that was around when I was 15, 16, I'd probably go to jail. Like all the stuff we've done when I was younger, like it's just, so it's just scary out there in that sense. And the drugs and the things like even the direction my son wants to go in like the rapping music, and he wants to do
be a producer.
There you go. You got it. I was at him. He wants to produce and recording. Just in that element's nerve-wracking. So I'm like, damn. Like, but if I establish good morals in him, man, the rest is up to him. Christian. People always ask me, "Oh, would you want your sons to get kids?" I don't necessarily want, or do I want my sons to get tattoos and stuff. I don't necessarily want them to get tattoos, but you know what, man? If they're gonna do it, that's something they have to live with, not me. Your decisions is what, it does affect the people around you, of course. But also, you have to live with that, not me, man. So that's how I look at it from my sons. I'm like, if you're going to do something, be smart about it. Like I told my oldest, he's going to be 14. I don't know when he'll be sexually active, and it's scary thinking about. I was like, be careful. Don't want to get no one pregnant. I was like, don't trust someone if they say they're on the pill, because then they might be, and then you have a baby. Like, so it's scary out there, man. So like, I just want him to be safe, be careful. And, they're definitely this day and age, people are more promiscuous because they have more access to things than we did. So it's scary, But, I'm in the words of a Christian, I'm very optimistic, and I know things are going to get better. But to wrap things up, man, like, is there anything you want to end on, or like, on relationships or the way the world's coming, like, like what is it that you want to kind of close up on?
Yeah, I know we didn't really talk about it. I know offline I've been talking a lot about economics and stuff, but just folks, make sure you have some food and stuff in storage, and by food, I mean, it could be, rice, beans, I mean, just like basic stuff, because from what I've heard from alternative news sources is there, sometime this year, there could very well be some shortages as a result of conflicts, i.e., Russia, Ukraine, and Israel, and potentially Hezbollah kicking off. So I encourage people to make sure you have some reserves put aside and learn everything you can about personal finance, because right now, like I said, I've said earlier, your dollar is getting diminished day by day, and inflation is a nasty thing, and we will not be able to pay this debt. This country, we're about 34 trillion in debt. There will be a massive pain, whether it's a year from now, 2 years from now, 5 years from now. They keep kicking the can down the road. So do whatever you can. I'm not some, billionaire or multimillionaire, but do what you can to just educate yourself and learn and protect yourself, because the people who run this world and the country, they've really fucked it up.
When he used the F word, that means he's really serious about it. So,
oh yeah, I'm absolutely passionate about it. The powers that be. There's a book called The Great Reset, or excuse me, it's called The Great Taking. I encourage people to take a look at it. Basically, it talks about how you really don't own what you think you own. It's just incredible. It's incredible.
Yeah, I think I need to start stocking up on more Chipotle since there's
Yeah.
going to be a shortage of
You need to buy the store.
rice and steak, and got to get these guns bigger. So, but anyways, guys, I appreciate you spending time with us, and I hope you have a great weekend. And yeah.
Have a good one, guys. Take care. Stay safe. See you soon.